Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, at the outset, let me thank you for your time and interest with this demo. My name is Muhammad Asif and I'm your host for this demo of XpressUp, which is a free-to-use internet-based tool. The format of this demo is split into topics like the pain area and opportunity for such a tool, what it is and what it isn't, demo of the tool, answering few high-level frequently asked questions, and finally a sneak peek into the features of XpressUp's subsequent version. As this demo is reasonably comprehensive, you certainly have a choice to fast forward it anytime at your will. However, I strongly suggest that your spending of these initial one-time few minutes will serve worthwhile in getting a clear and high-level picture of this tool so that you may leverage it to its fullest potential. Let's begin with the pain area and opportunity for such a tool like XpressUp. To get answer to this question, let's take a brief detour through a basic psychology class. We know that a thought in human mind is processed in the form of an image, and an average human brain can process about 700 images per minute. However, when it comes to speaking, we can speak with an average of only 100 words per minute, even in our native languages. So there is a significant inequation between the production of images and their morphosis into words or expressions. And when it comes to doing this translation of images into expressions or words with a non-native language, it gets further more difficult, which is prevalently the predominant cause behind most communication gaps with non-native English speakers. These gaps get further compounded by factors like lack of personal touch due to distance and tele or remote communications. As per the International Telecommunication Unit (ITU), about 48% of the contemporary 7 billion world population is on internet in some or the other form. And English, we know, has become the de facto mother tongue of internet and the corporate world in most cases. Now let's scuba dive a bit into these figures. From the present total world population of over 7 billion people, less than 1 billion people can communicate using this de facto mother tongue of internet. That's English. That's because from the total of roughly 200 countries in the world, about 67 countries have English as their primary language and another 27 countries as their secondary language. That leaves almost over 100 countries that don't predominantly use English as either their primary or a secondary language. This causes a huge gap with non-native English speakers vis-a-vis their ability to express effectively or collaborate effectively with the rest of the lingually well-connected digital world, as has been demonstrated through the figures below. Right, as you can see, the number of English speakers using internet are more vis-a-vis their counterparts, though the number of people who speak Spanish or Chinese or Arabic are more in number when compared to the English speakers. Right, so having said that, though the scope of XpressUp initiative is right now limited to English, it may not be confined just to one language, and may play a better and bigger role complementing existing language tools on the internet, including ones embedded within search engines. Another point to ponder over is that the traditional language help sites and tools have hardly evolved beyond nuances of dictionaries and grammar or idioms and axioms, which inherently fail in providing a language equivalent of fast food to us. We are neither trying to rewrite the rules nor reinvent a wheel. The sincere endeavor behind XpressUp is only to help people speak and write effectively and convey their minds using least of verbosity and time. And there is no better way to learn this art but from those who do it the best. What is XpressUp? First of all, with all modesty, There is no other tool like XpressUp on internet or anywhere in the world today, or even in a close form to it. It literally takes many years of ardent perseverance to build a dictionary of over 50,000 expressions, which is only growing and getting better with each passing day. In future, it invites contributions by open or crowdsourcing through a wider and open internet platform, thus contemplating to grow democratically or inorganically as well. Back to the question, what is XpressUp? It's a step forward to reduce communication gap, like I said earlier, by means of providing combinations and permutations of words in the form of literal and allegorical expressions. These expressions are quickly usable in our oral as well as written communication. The XpressUp site lets you find expressions based on fully or partially spelled words by virtue of custom indexing, or let's say filtering options, and also by etymological search criteria, which we shall shortly see through befitting examples. And above all, it's totally free without any frills. Finally, these XpressUp expressions are an outcome of its author's many years of keen ear to the ground observations, listening to the umpteen glib and great speakers, and also through his individual passionate contributions to it. In layman terms, it is a practical language fast food for you, which you can plug and play in your contemporary and predominantly fast-paced, informal and formal day-to-day communications. As seeing is learning, you'll get to see XpressUp in action in few more minutes from now. What it is not? Well, it's not a dictionary, thesaurus, grammar, or a spell check tool. It is also not a site or a tool for you if you are unfamiliar with English at a rudimentary level. It serves as an ancillary help or a kind of prosthetic language support to your existing communication skills by ensuring you convey the best through the least utilization of words. That is independent of any professional fraternity that you may belong to. Now I would like to walk you through this online tool for a few minutes, after which I shall answer few more frequently asked questions for you, and finally provide a sneak peek into the functional blueprint of this tool's subsequent version, or call it the next generation version. As stated earlier, let's spend some time now walking the talk, where I shall demonstrate to you the XpressUp's functions and the how-to part for its optimal utilization. So let's get into some action mode now by connecting to XpressUp.com. That starts with the letter X as in Xerox. There you go. Alright, so as you can see, the screen is divided into, in fact, 4 portions. The first, where I am moving my mouse right now, is the editor, where you can type your content. And on the right side you have expressions window, where basis your search you're going to get the list of all expressions, and down there under your selections, these are the expressions that you would select based on your requirements. Now on the top portion of the screen, this is where the engine or the search engine of XpressUp is, and I'll walk you through each of these: indexing depth, the keyword filters, the info, demo, next version glimpse, and the write to us option. As seeing is learning, and you learn better by virtue of practical examples and real life scenarios, I'm going to walk you through now few of them, which at times might sound exhaustive in terms of covering many of them, but trust me, at the end of this demo you will be glad you went through them. Let's begin with the indexing depth, which is categorized into 3 types: low, medium, and high. By default you always have medium, so I'll tell you about each of them, beginning with low. Low sort of indexing would allow you to look for the exact word. That means if there is a minus or plus alphabet beyond what you are looking for, the system is not going to find you an expression with those words. So you exactly have to spell it the way you want it. So that is low. When it comes to medium, it basically looks for initial 4 letters of a word in a match within an expression. Ideally it is 4, You even can find it with 3, but the results will not be so very optimal. So I strongly recommend that if you have 4 letters of a word with you, then you can select medium, which is by default the criteria. And then you have high. So high is an extreme form which looks for 3 letters of a word irrespective of where they fall in the word. Like it can be from left to right, the middle portion, or the end portion of a word. So now let's take a look at the keyword filters, which are permuted into 2 forms, or and. Right? So or would let you find words that you're looking for in various expressions, more than one, and then and would let you find them those search words within the same expression. As you can make out, and is within the same, and or is, if not this, look for something else. You also have quick help buttons next to each of them. For indexing depth, it says low is searching for words and expressions that are an exact match. So is the case with medium. It looks for initial 4 letters of the word, and high says searches for words and expressions where 3 letters from any part of the word match. And there is a brief help on or and as well. Or searches for all provided keywords in various expressions, and searches for all provided keywords within the same expression. So this makes sense, right? So unless you look at a few examples which I'm going to walk you through now, you will not really get an idea how it works in action. We then have a couple of more buttons like clear, that clears the history, which is available for the search, where I am hovering my mouse now. Then you have clear under expressions and under your selections as well down there. Then the info button up there provides you a little bit on the background of this tool, what it is and what it is not. Then the demo button will take you to this demo which you are going through right now on YouTube, and the next version glimpse would provide you a brief static blueprint or a prototype of the tool's subsequent version. Right, it's loading the page now. In the meantime, the Write to Us page will take you to a place from where you can provide us your suggestions or questions if you have any. Your name and email are mandatory. Apart from that, your phone address and message are optional. Having said that, I strongly suggest you provide us all the details so that we know who our consumers are. This is how the subsequent version is going to look like, and it's only a static page as of today. So as the medium indexing depth is the default one, let's get started on our demo with medium. And I'll put in few words here. In fact, since medium requires you to provide only initial 4 letters of the word, I would either provide 4 or a little more than 4. And I'm delimiting with a comma what more I need in my search, and I say enter, or you can click the search button as well. You might see on the right screen the system has thrown out many expressions for the words myth, or the words which start with the letter myth or mist, and it will be in the same order as you are searching for, starting with myth and then mystery. So there are a lot of them, right? And the moment instead of or I select and, you would see the number of searches the system finds have significantly reduced, because you want those 2 words to be available within the same expression. Whereas in case of or, you are saying they should be available in any expression, any one of those words. I hope that makes sense. So let me provide you another example. I'm looking for democracy, so I'm just typing democ. It could be democratic or democratization, anything. And then I am looking for nation, so I just put in initial few letters and perform search. And there you go. The system is going to provide you with a lot of expressions having these 2 words. And in the same order that I have performed my search, the system has thrown out the expressions in the right pane, starting with democracy and then expressions having the word national or nationalist or nationalism, whatever, and so on. and if I want to select any of them, there is a enter symbol next to each one of them. If I click, they get copied down here in the your selections window, where you can singularly or combinedly select them by select all key and copy them to your respective or text windows where you are composing the matter or content. This, it could be the same one in within XpressUp or a different one which you are using to write your content. And the moment I select AND as a permutation here instead of OR, I am telling the application that please look for these two words, democracy and national or nation, within the same expressions. So the search is now quite restricted, and the number of expressions you're going to find now are significantly low vis-a-vis the earlier search, right? So similarly, I'm going to rapidly perform few more searches for you, so that you build the rhythm with the application. I'm looking for words like medieval and contemporary, so I provide the initial ones, and is the permutation that I have selected, and I perform search, and you're going to see a limited number of expressions on the right side having either of these words. But the moment I select OR permutation, then perform a research on the same words, the number of expressions are humongous, right? So huge. That's the fundamental difference. Another example that I can provide to you of is, let's say I'm composing an article in a newspaper or something, like I'm saying the administrative nuances behind the political. So I want few words. There are few words in my mind, and I want to find information with respect to them. First is manifesto, consensus, then I can think of a referendum, then apolitical. So because I have selected OR, the system has given me a huge list, right? So I can pick up my ideas from here on what I want to put together. The moment I select AND, the system I'm sure is not going to find any match. It's quite rare to find all this in a single expression. So I go back to OR, and picking up probably these ones, I can continue typing my method, right? Political referendum can be evaluated, and so on and so forth, right? I'll just stop here and give you one or two more examples. The other one that I can think of is, let's say, chief and chief. See, I've got so many of them. The moment I select AND, the system is going to restrict it from those 10s to just 7 of them, I guess, 6 of them. Right? This is how it works basically under medium search. There are a few more examples, and I'll follow up on that in a couple of minutes. I hope this builds some rhythm in your mind on how it can be used before we hop on to the next examples. Please don't get confused when you're looking at use of two words. You can either use 2 words or less than that or more than that. It's up to you. To give you an example, let me say under medium search only, I am putting a word like quantum, right? So I'm going to get a lot of matches for the word quantum, but the moment I reduce 2 letters from this word to count, you see the number of expressions I'm going to get now would be huge, because the number of expressions would be inversely proportional to the length of the word, right? So the system has more number of words to look for now. Earlier it was only quantum, now it looks for quantity and quantum, quantifiable, and a lot of more things. So other quick example that I can think of is the word like proposal, right? So I'm going to get limited matches now with proposal, but the moment I move back, let's say 2 spaces in medium, see the number of expressions have increased. And if I go further back and to the word pro, it's going to be really huge. Alright, it's going to take a while as well, because I'm sure that the dictionary will have a lot of words starting with pro. But in order to get optimal results, you are highly advised to always use in medium 4 letters, initial letters of a word. Alright, so if you similarly use a word like paint, right, and now I'm going to get all expressions starting with the word paint. But the moment I reduce T and make it pain, I'm not only going to get pain, I'm also going to get paint, as you see down, because the system looks for initial four letters only, right? So see, painted and all those things. And there are a lot of things, right? You can for example, polit would throw out expressions with respect to political as initial 5 letters. It's taking a while. Yeah, politburo, polite, political, a lot of them politeness. But the moment I reduce team from it, it says poly. It's also going to bring in police now, and also maintain the last search results, which were political, politburo, and so on. You see, policy, and so on. You get the point? So having seen few examples under medium search criteria, let's pick up the low and or combination and begin with something really simple like a fair trial. Let me deliberately change the trial to trail, and I'm saying search. Yes, I have got a number of expressions as match for my search criteria, starting with fair, and down there I also have trail. That's because I didn't type trial but trail. The system, right, is just following my instructions. But let me correct myself. I'm saying fair trial, and now when I perform a search again, here you go, fair remains, and instead of trail I'm getting trial now. Makes sense, right? However, the moment I select and as a permutation and reperform the search, the number of matches are going to go down drastically, because it needs to find either of these words as part of the same expression. Hope you get the point. Few more quick examples that I can give you right now. Let me do that. Let's remain under low, and I'm saying governance and inclusive. I need to be careful with my spellings under low, you remember that. So yeah, I got a lot of them, and I'm changing back from or to and reperforming my search. I got limited ones. Another one would be performance delivery. I'm just trying to build a rhythm for my consumers of the application so that you're abreast with its use. So I'll give you a couple of more examples. You can always, skip this or fast forward yourself, but it does help, trust me. Now under and for performance and delivery, I just got one match. The moment I select or, I'm going to get a huge list. There you go. Few more that come to my mind are, let's say, optics and semantics. Yeah. Under or, very few, and I'm sure under and you either might not find any or very few. Oh, yeah, you got it. Perspectives based on optics, semantics, and heuristics. Yeah? The system is pretty exhaustive. So if I say next is decibel campaign, I mean to say high decibel campaign, but I'm just typing in the relevant words. Yeah, I got 2 under and, because I'm saying either of these words should be part of the same expression. The moment I select or, I'm going to get a different picture. There you go, quite exhaustive. Vision and mission. Let's see what it gets. Yeah, it brought in again a lot of them, and yeah, very limited, right? I hope you got the idea by now, right? So let's get into some more examples in the high mode. Just to recap, as we have seen so far, the low-level indexing looks for the precise or exact match of the word that you're searching for. The medium one is a moderate one, looks for initial 3 to 4 letters of the word, but ideally 4 to begin with. And then high is the most graceful search criteria, which is also the most granular in terms of finding most expressions. That's because it looks for 3 letters as any part of the word. It could be the beginning, middle, or end part of the word, and it throws out expressions for you. One important point to note under high search criteria is you use this only when you are not really sure with the exact word, or probably you are quite sound with the etymology of words. For example, if you have a small word like pen, right, that you're looking to find, you better use low because you're sure you have the complete word, and low looks for the exact match. But if I select high here, the system is going to be quite graceful in the number of expressions produced, because it tries to find the 3 letters pen as part of any word, right? As you can see, I can see pen in expenses, independence, penetration, and lot many places. Other quick example would be a word like ace. If I select low because I'm clear what I'm looking for, the system simply produces the exact matches or expressions. But the moment I select high, ace as 3 letters can fall in lot of words within the dictionary, and the number of matches could be really in hundreds or thousands sometimes. There you go. So it's pretty exhaustive. So in a nutshell, when you're using high, you got to be sure that you are not looking for exact word, and you're just kind of mining or digging for the right expressions with some hazy words in your mind. Hope that helps. So let's begin with high indexing depth and use or and permutations under our examples. As I stated, you use this option when you are not very clear with what you're looking for, and if you are sound with etymology, that might help. So I'll pick up one etymological word here, like genic. Genic is generation or producing something. So for genic, yeah, I got a lot of them: intogenically, telegenic, and so on. And let me change few more words. I can think of metry, measurement. Yeah, I got a lot of them. I know there are words like ANSI. ANSI is like element denoting state or quality of something. ANCY. So you get vibrancy, buoyancy, expectancy, malignancy, and anything where these words have this combination of letters. Autocracy, you have crazy, CRACY, right? It is basically to rule or the rule. So dynastic democracy, yeah, a ceaseless bureaucracy, inceptocracy, and so on. So crazy is another etymological criteria that I can think of. And one more is ship. Ship is a condition, act, or quality of something, right? So if I say ship, let's see what it brings out. There you go. It has produced a lot of expressions having this 4 letters ship within those words. The list is really exhaustive. So sometimes you want something precise, so you might want to look for ship with crazy, which is the rule. And I have selected and as my criteria. Look, I've got 2 matches from dictatorship to democracy and dictatorship through or of majoritarian democracy. Okay, sometimes when you see a front slash, it means or, so you can use that expression in more than one form as illustrated. Some of the other quick etymological criteria or words that I can think of are like quasi. Falsy is basically resembling but not original or real, and any words having quasi as part of them would be produced as expressions. Then you have pseudo, yeah, you get a lot of them. Then what else? You have retro, backwards, yeah, retroactively, retrospective, retrograde, and intro, inwards, yeah, you have a lot of them. Then ultra, basically it means beyond or extreme, and I'm getting a lot of those as well. So I hope I've managed to build some rhythm in your mind on how to use this tool effectively, using various criteria, low, medium, and high, with both the permutations or an and. Right? Let's see some real life couple of examples before we hop on to the next topic. So let's pick up few real life examples, and imagine I'm writing a news article and the situation is like a lot of violence in the country, and I would start something like during last few days the nation has witnessed, I need some words like expressions that have the words like witness and violence, and I'm performing a search with or permutation, and I'm expecting a lot of matches. Yes, it does produce a lot of them, but it gives me a challenge as well, because I'll have to look each one of them, or glance through them to find the right one. So I'm trying an and permutation here to see if I can limit the number of matches. Yeah, 3, and I think the closest one is the top one, which says had seen or witnessed an unprecedented violence. So witness an unprecedented violence with a lot of, I'm going to say blood, but I want a right word to be used with blood, like so I'm just trying to find something with witness blood as an expression. Yeah, witnessed a lot of blood and gore, so I'm seeing with a lot of blood and gore like never before. I hope you're getting it. Okay, let's pick up one more example, let's say from the commercial world, where I am trying to prepare an advertisement, and I'm saying it should be like our products and services, right? So I'm going to type product and service and see if I can find. I'm going to definitely find a lot of them, but I want them to be part of the same expression. So let me change the permutation to and it gives me some idea how where I can use them, right? I want to use this, and what else can I use scientifically? Okay, so I frame my advertisement as our products and services are scientifically socialized for consistent customer feedback. Alright, it does make sense. Our products and services are scientifically socialized for consistent customer feedback. So I have used taken some idea from this expression. I didn't kind of copy ditto. I have just taken an idea so that it provides some kind of a prosthetic or ancillary help to my existing skills. Now, in the last example, let me assume I'm writing an appraisal for myself, and I want to showcase something like I have maximized value out of something and also improved quality. So I am just starting with whatever comes to my mind consistently. I need to put in maximize, so let me see what suits. So I think this makes sense. Maximized value proportion out of it. So consistently maximized, first of all, let's say return on investment, that is ROI, and value proportion through innovation and productivity enhancement. And I want to plug in something for quality as well. Let me see. Quality. Subgraded, sub-based, pairs. No, I want a positive one. So this makes sense. So let me say improved processed quality rigor by meeting performance objectives and expectations of the customer. I've just framed whatever came to my mind. Hope you get the point, right? So this is how you can at your disposal have a lot of expressions to pick ideas from and come up with your theme. So by now I believe you have a fairly decent idea about how XpressUp works and how to draw optimal benefits out of it. Now let's spend some time answering those frequently asked questions which we spoke about in the earlier part of the session, which you may have. I believe by now you have a fairly practical idea of what XpressUp is good at and how to leverage those capacities and capabilities. Now let's spend some time going through a few questions which you might have in order to get a high-level picture of this tool. Who exactly can use it? Well, anyone who wants to convey the most of his or her mind with least and best of verbatim. It could be a child learning the tricks of soft skills trade, or a leader preparing his speech, or let's say perhaps a news anchor struggling mining her brain for rightful expressions for the situation or a theme. The list goes on. The ethos and essence of XpressUp is to provide you with quick yet pragmatic help when you hit speed bumps expressing yourself. So you might ask, will it not kill the language creativity? Well, not really. To give you an example, a handy dictionary or a lexicon has never jeopardized language creativity, but only extended it by providing a right verbal framework to fit the context. As stated earlier in this demo, the language nuances haven't grown beyond dictionaries, idioms, grammar, etc. XpressUp fills that apparent sweet spot lacuna by providing a new dimension to the use and consumption of language. In this contemporary era of rapid means in every sphere of our material life, a practical language fast food is desperately needed to cut the crap and convey across the right message. Why not use a search engine? What is XpressUp's niche factor? Without intending to sound bragful, there is no other site or tool in the world today which has what XpressUp offers or works even remotely akin to what XpressUp does. All contemporary search engines simply either take you to websites with what you are looking for or provide immediate information for the searched word in the form of its meaning, use, etc. The explanation might as well be deep. However, it lacks the variety and rapidity in terms of the use of word or words. More so, composite search for desired words in common expression is not possible with any search engines of today, leave alone having a handy dictionary of such treasured expressions. Most expressional examples on the internet are either limited or convoluted, and XpressUp fills that void for us. How accurate and dependable it is? Well, XpressUp's current form is quite extensive in variety and intensive in quality, as it has always been evolving. As the famous adage goes, there is no exact science, everything is an inexact art. The improvement in quality and extensiveness of content will always remain two constants with XpressUp. How will XpressUp grow? Well, XpressUp as of now has 50,000 expressions treasured over a long period of time. Having said that, it is right now confined to an individual's passion and labor of love towards it. As XpressUp now gets unleashed into the borderless digital flat world, we expect people to learn from it and democratically share to it. Where you can find help on it, as you can see in the exhibit slide with arrow keys, XpressUp is quite a help-oriented web-based tool. If you are facing any challenges or have suggestions, please write to us using Write to Us option. And I'll also walk you through these help options during the demo session briefly. What next? Well, we are going to see an extended version of XpressUp for mobile and tablet platforms in the due course of time. That will be available for Android, iOS and Windows platforms per se. As stated earlier in this demo, the development of XpressUp has been so far driven by an individual passion and labor of love. However, there is always a scope for its improvisation and betterment, which we are contemplating to have in the subsequent version. I'm going to next walk you through a few screens with befitting examples on how and what those features would look like, and then wind up the session. As you can see from the screen now, apart from retaining the features from the current version, like keyword filters and indexing depth, we shall be adding three more filter criteria, which would be close word filter, which is trifurcated into synonyms, antonyms and homonyms, followed with filter by profession and filter by temperament. This would be anyway required because we expect expressions database to grow significantly over a period of time in terms of its volume, as we expect inorganic as well as organic growth into it. So these criteria would be introduced eventually. Apart from that, you should be having an email option so that the editor or text editor gets transformed into an email editor, and you should be able to shoot out your work as in the form of an email. And then you have folders. This is just a static blueprint, so you don't really get to see any real life examples, but just a static blueprint which shows how you can catalog and archive your work for future reference and usability. At times we are quite held up thinking about the right word within the expression that we are looking for. So even a close word synonym based search would help in close word filter criteria. As you can see in this example with the static screen, I have typed in the word mix, and the results I am getting on the right pane or the screen show me the synonyms for this word, starting with merge, unitedly, assimilated, blended, united, and so on. So it gives you a pretty wide variety of expressions basis the close word criteria as well. Hope that helps. Similarly, we can also play around a bit with antonyms, where if you're not really getting the equivalent of the word you're looking for, you can even type whatever closest opposite comes to your mind. In this example, I have selected corrupt, and as a result of it, I got output on the right screen of words which are opposite to corrupt, and thus their expressions: ethically, moral, principled. So you can read on and on, the list goes on. So this is another example how the subsequent or the next version of tool would allow you to more liberally find expressions using a number of search criteria. The third example that I would like to provide to you under closed word filter is homonym based, as you can see in the drop down, and we selected a word like post, and you can see a number of same sounding words within the expressions or homonyms, or within the framework of the same phonetics. You get the output on the right screen. So this might help a bit in the world of commercials, in the world of literature, where people are struggling to find the right kind of a word within their sentences or expressions. So let's pick up another example by filter by profession, where I am selecting the word administration. You can always have more than one, but in this, to start with a simple one, let's do that. And in the screen, the static one on the right side, you would see most of these expressions are mapping with the administration word or the field. Like objective assessment versus subjective one has a short-term bad impact but a long-term merit or benefits. Then efforts must be commensurate with the task and objective assessment and so on. I hope you get the point. Let's move a step further from a single word professional filters to a composite one. In here I have selected legal and political or politics as two words, and on the right pane you are going to see expressions which have a gist or essence of combinedly both the fields legal and politics, and as well as those expressions down as we scroll down which have essence of these individual fields. So this is also going to be possible with the subsequent version. After seeing filter by profession, now let's look at filter by temper, where I have selected a word energized, and on the static screen on the right side you will see expressions associated with that word or temper. Not all of these expressions or the resultant expressions might have a literal word energized embedded within them. However, in gist and in essence, all of them would point at the same temper. For example, has indomitable willpower, with infectious energy and courage. You must be the change you wish to see in the world, so on and so forth. Hope that helps. As we had done a multiple word or a composite search for filter by profession, now let's do same for filter by temper. The earlier example for temper was only energized search criteria. Now we are using energized combined with clueless. As a result of which, on the right screen you're going to see a number of expressions having a semblance of meaning for both these words. For instance, the first one reads as pushed into eternal oblivion in spite of strong conviction. Eternal oblivion gives a semblance of clueless, and strong conviction gives a meaning associated with the word energized. So is the case with the next one. Few gray areas shouldn't be an impediment to our zeal. Gray areas map to clueless and energized maps to zeal. And so on and so forth. You can go on for many of them. Now let's take another example combining the best of both the worlds. I'm going to now combine filter by profession along with filter by temper and use the permutation of and between them. As you can see, the result on the right pane will have the essence of either of these fields together, because I have said and, right? So it needs to. And if you closely smell these expressions, they have an essence of mapping to the feel as business and the temper as anecdotal. And by the way, anecdote is a short narrative or a short story. So this is a way of expressing a long thing short. So within the business world, I should be able to speak like ideas must be merged and not submerged. Company must take a cost haircut. So these terms are, kind of very normal that we use in day-to-day communications, but they also can be used in respective business world. And then, as I said earlier, we would be embedding email facility within this tool in the subsequent version. So the moment you click on this email button, of course you should be logged in and you should register yourself, unlike in the current version where you can simply use it just like Google. So once you click on email button, it transforms the screen a little bit and it lets you type in to who you are going to send the email, the subject, and attach documents to it and shoot it out. As we want to make this tool an open source and grow inorganically and democratically as well, we have included contribute new kind of a button. I'm rather going to include that in the subsequent version, and once you click on it, the tool will allow you to provide your own inputs as well. If you have a passion for writing or if you have a passion towards a language, you might want to share it here. So the moment you click on it, it provides you a screen where you can submit your new expression, like I'm moving my mouse right now. You type in your new expression, and if you have any synonyms or antonyms to it, you can type in here, and then you can also select the temperament and the business field if you deem so, and then submit. You can either keep yourself anonymous, or you can declare your identity, of course, if you are registered and logged in. Alright, so once this gets submitted, they go through the QA check. Not all users would submit grammatically the right ones, and they might not put in all synonyms or antonyms or even homonyms. I have not put that screen here because I'm just giving an example. But once it goes through the quality check, more data would be added to it. It will be refined, massaged a bit, and then uploaded to the database. So this is how it's going to democratically grow over a period of time from the current total of 50,000 expressions. Similar to the mobile and tablet platforms of the first phase of XpressUp, we should be having an extended version of it for the second phase as well. The fundamental difference would be in terms of the search, filters and criteria which will be added to it, in terms of close word filters, the filter by profession and temper. Then also it provides you a facility to save, catalog or archive your work in the form of folders. And then you have email provision where you can send an email out. With the second phase go live of XpressUp, an add-on for word processors will also be launched, which is going to work in an offline mode. So it's a dynamic dictionary gets updated as and when you connect back to the internet. Otherwise you still can access the dictionary and then use it on demand. Hope by virtue of this demo I have managed to provide you with an effective idea on the spirit of this tool XpressUp. We know there is a fairly large size of English abreast population out there. However, we also have over 6 billion people who are not in tune with this de facto corporate and internet mother tongue. We have to spare a thought and a practical mechanism for those non-native English speakers to connect with the other global citizenry by leveraging such a people bridging tool like XpressUp. Of course, we have to do this with all due respect to one's affinity towards their native language and cultural diversity. So please leverage this tool and do forward your questions and or suggestions through write to us option available at the site, or alternatively write an email at feedback@xpressup.com to us. Once again, thanks for your time and good luck.